Hey, good morning. I was just gonna go over a couple things on how I make arrows and the supplies that I use. So I'm a big fan of wood arrows. I've been making and shooting them for about 20 plus years now. I've gotten a handful of animals with them, and then I just use them for everything from stump shooting to 3D shoots and different things. But anyway, most of the time I get my shafts from Sherwood shafts. These are Douglas fir. Really like these. I'll use cedar as well. Four Peaks Archery down the road here in Mesa. Most of their shafts that they sell are cedar that I'll get, and that's actually where I first started buying stuff. That's kind of where I got most of these things. I got feathers, nocks, these feathers over here from Four Peaks, and then the other stuff, other than the shafts, I got from Three Rivers Archery. These are 5-inch feathers that I use for my hunting arrows, my 3D arrows. These are full-length feathers that I'll use for my stump shooting arrows, or flu-flus, or whatever you want to call them. This stain that I like to use for my arrows, it's really fast drying. It takes about an hour to dry after you apply it, and then you can do it as light or dark as you want, depending on how long you leave the stain on and how much stain, if you don't wipe it off. These are the two different glues that I like to use. This is a taper tool from Bear Paw Archery. Really easy to use, really cheap, good for tapering my arrows. And then this is what I use for my fletching. This is my little fletching jig. I'll show you how to do that, or how to use this layer. And then I shoot 160 grain tips, so got 160 grain blunts here, the Ace Hex blunts, and then these are just field tips. And then the broadheads that I use are 160 grain as well. Bought my broadheads from RMS Gear. They're the Cutthroats, glue-on single blade bevel broadheads that I really like. So hopefully you'll get something out of this. If you have questions or any tips or tricks for me as well, let me know. And I'm just going to kind of go over how I make arrows. Thanks. Alright, so this next part I'm going to be staining these arrows. I'm going to do this outside so I don't make my wife mad, get stain all over her countertops. But this again is the stuff I use. Really fast drying, takes about an hour. Use gloves, don't want your hands all stained. And then I just use a rag to kind of spread it. So I'll show you what I do. Just dab it in here. And just cover the whole shaft with it. Now, I don't like my arrows super dark, so I don't try to leave the stain on there too long, and then I'll wipe most of it off. It's all preference, how dark you want them, how light you want them. And I'll just wipe off some of the excess here. There you have it. That's all you got to do. They'll dry in about an hour. So this next part, the stain has already dried, and so I just kind of marked where I want to do some cresting. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to paint this part right here blue, just to kind of give it a unique look, but I don't do much more than that. So kind of show you what I do, and then we'll go to the next step. Spread it there nice and thick. That's one arrow. Let that dry. All right, next phase. So shafts are dried, ready to go. I've already pre-marked them where I want to fletch them. And so what I do is I use a little milk jug cap for my fletching jig. So what I do is I punch a hole in the center and mark where the fletchings are to be. And with a little bit of super glue, I just put a little dab on the tips of each fletching and match where those markings are on the milk jug. Super easy to use, super cheap, works pretty good. And then once these are completely dry, I'll put a little bit of glue on the base of this here, and then I'll pull it tight just like so and glue it and let it sit for about 30 seconds till it dries, and then I'll move to the next fletching. And that is all I do. Nothing fancy about that. Super easy, super cheap. All just using a milk jug cap, I should say. So anyway, I'm going to keep gluing these and getting them all done. I'll put my nocks on after I get my fletchings glued. That way this can be poking away from my bow. And then I don't cut this at all. These are still full length, and once I'm ready to tune the arrows, then I'll trim it. And I'll show you how to do that. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Hey, good morning. It's time to tune these arrows. So I've got this one that's full length, and then this one that's about 1.5 inches shorter. I didn't mean to make it that much shorter, but I broke it at the tip, and so I just decided to glue a tip on at that point. I'm going to kind of show you the difference between the two, and then I'll make necessary adjustments after we look at the video. So I'm shooting a 55-pound Howard Hill Longbow. Got my little glove here. Biggest thing with tuning arrows is trying to be as consistent as possible with shooting form, which is really hard to do with an ASL. So I'm sure I'll get my balls busted by a few of you about my form, but I'll do the best I can to try to be consistent and see if we get some good arrow flight. Let me know if you have any tips or tricks, and thanks for watching.